I am sitting in this cold interrogation room staring through the one-way glass, watching my own father talk to the police. His finger keeps pointing back at me. My heart is pounding so hard I can feel it in my throat. 3 days ago I was driving my brand new Ford F-150 home proud as hell, showing it off to my family. Now that truck is gone, and my parents are telling the cops that I stole my own car. How did everything fall apart this fast? How did my own family become the people trying to put me behind bars? Before I tell you what happened next, let me know where you are watching from. Drop your location in the comments. And if you have ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, someone who was supposed to have your back, hit that like button, so I know I am not alone in this. Make sure you subscribe because what happens next is going to blow your mind. Trust me, you will want to see how I got out of this nightmare. Now let me take you back to the beginning. My name is Mac. I am 28 years old and I work at an auto repair shop on the outskirts of Denver, Colorado. I have been doing this since I was 19, started as an apprentice changing oil and rotating tires, working my way up to lead mechanic. It has been 9 years of grease under my fingernails, early mornings and late nights. But I loved it. Every single day. I live in a small one-bedroom apartment, nothing fancy. Just a place to sleep and eat. Most of my money goes into savings because I have always had 2 dreams. 1 to open my own repair shop someday, 2 to own a nice pickup truck. Not brand new, just something reliable and solid that I could call mine. I have always been the responsible one. The one who pays bills on time, shows up to work even when sick, keeps promises. My family. Well, that is a different story. My dad Robert used to be a carpenter before he retired. Good with his hands, but tough to please. My mom Linda is a nurse. Kind heart, but always busy. Then there is my older brother Dylan. Dylan is 32, 4 years older than me. And Dylan has always been the golden child, the favorite, the one who could do no wrong. Growing up, I noticed it early. Dylan could come home late, no questions asked. Dylan could break something, laugh it off, and Mom would clean it up with a smile. But me, I had to do chores, get good grades, follow every rule. If I messed up even a little, there were consequences. When Dylan dropped out of college after 1 year, my parents said he was finding his own path. When I dropped out to go to trade school because I could not afford tuition, my parents were disappointed. They cut off any financial help, told me I was making a mistake, so I worked. I worked hard. I paid my own way. Over the years, Dylan borrowed money from me, a lot of money. First, it was $500 for rent, then $800 for a car repair he never got done. Then $1,000 here, $1,500 there. It added up to almost $4,000 total. Every single time Dylan promised he would pay me back. I am still waiting for that first dollar, but I forgave him. Why? Because he is my brother. Because that is what family does, right? You help each other out, you forgive, you move on. But recently things got worse with Dylan. He got into gambling, poker games, sports, betting, stuff like that. He lost money, a lot of it. My parents had to bail him out twice, paying off debts to people I never met. People Dylan said were just friends. But I knew better. Friends do not come to your house at 10 p.m. demanding money. In the past 2 months, Dylan started avoiding me. He would not answer my calls. When we had family dinners, he barely looked at me. But he always asked questions. Questions about my job, how much I was making, how much I had saved, if I was planning to buy anything big soon. At the time, I thought he just wanted to know how I was doing. Now I know he was planning something. Finally, after 9 years of saving every spare dollar I could, I had enough. Enough to buy the truck I had been dreaming about. A 2022 Ford F-150, used but in perfect condition. Navy blue, clean interior, runs like a dream. The price was $18,000. I put down a chunk of my savings and financed the rest over 3 years. The day I picked it up was a Friday. I felt like I was on top of the world. I took pictures, posted them online, called my friends. And then I decided to drive to my parents' house. I had not been there in 3 months. Figured it was time to show them what hard work could get you. When I pulled into the driveway, my mom came out first. She hugged me, congratulated me, said she was proud. That felt good. My dad came out next. He nodded, walked around the truck, did not say much. Just muttered something like used trucks are fine, I guess. Then Dylan showed up. His eyes lit up when he saw that truck. He walked around it slowly, touching the paint, looking inside. Then he asked me, "Hey, Mac, think I could borrow this for the weekend? I have got a big meeting with a potential client for a new job. Need to make a good impression." I hesitated. I had just gotten this truck. It was mine. But Dylan kept pushing. "Come on, man. I really need this. It is just 2 days. I will take care of it like it is my own. I promise." My parents were standing there too, looking at me, waiting. And I felt that old pressure, that guilt, that voice in my head saying, "Do not be selfish. He is your brother. Help him out." So I said yes. Dylan could borrow the truck Saturday morning, but he had to bring it back by 8 p.m. that night. He promised. He shook my hand. He said, "You can count on me, little brother." Saturday came. Dylan picked up the truck at 9 a.m. I watched him drive away and something in my gut twisted, but I ignored it. 8 p.m. rolled around. No truck, no call. I texted Dylan. No response. I called. Straight to voicemail. I called my parents. They said, "Oh, he is probably just running late. He will bring it back tomorrow morning. Do not worry." But I was worrying. Sunday morning came. Still no truck. Still no Dylan. I kept calling. Nothing. Finally, at 3 p.m. on Sunday, my phone rang. It was Dylan. His voice was shaking. "Mac, I messed up. I messed up bad." My stomach dropped. What happened? Where is my truck? Dylan said the truck was stolen. He said he parked it at a shopping plaza while he went into a store, and when he came back, it was gone. I could not breathe. Stolen. "Did you call the cops?" Dylan stuttered. "No, not yet. I did not know what to do. I will handle it. I will figure it out." But I was not about to let him handle it. That was my truck, my money, my dream. I told him I was calling the police myself and I needed to know exactly where this happened. Dylan gave me an address. I borrowed a car from my friend Sarah and drove straight there. When I got to the shopping plaza, I found the security office. I explained what happened and asked to see the footage from the parking lot. The guard pulled it up. We watched. I waited for my navy blue F-150 to show up on the screen, but it never did, not once. I asked Dylan again, "Are you sure this is the right place?" He changed his story. "Oh, wait, no, I think it was a different parking lot." I remember now. It was on the other side of town. That is when I knew. Something was very, very wrong. Dylan was lying to me. I made the decision right there. I called the police and filed a stolen vehicle report. I gave them the license plate, the VIN number, all the paperwork. They took down the information and said they would put out an alert. If anyone spotted the truck, they would let me know. I called my parents to tell them I reported it. My dad exploded. "Why did you do that without talking to us first? Dylan said he was going to handle it. Now you have made things worse." My mom chimed in, worried. "You are going to get Dylan in trouble." I did not understand. Why would reporting my stolen truck get Dylan in trouble unless he did something he was not supposed to do? My dad said I was being selfish, that I did not care about my brother, that I only thought about myself. I hung up. I felt like I had been punched in the chest. 2 days later, I got a call from the police. "Mr. Thornton, we found your vehicle." Relief flooded through me. "Where is it? What condition is it in?" The officer paused. "It is at an abandoned warehouse on the south side of the city, but we need you to come down to the station. There is a serious problem." My relief turned to ice. What kind of problem? When I got to the station, Detective Harris met me at the front desk. He led me to an interrogation room and sat me down. "Mr. Thornton, your truck was found with 2 pounds of cocaine in the back seat. Street value is around $80,000. There was also an unregistered handgun under the driver's seat. I need you to explain how those items got into your vehicle." I felt the room spin. Cocaine. A gun. I do not know anything about that. I let my brother borrow the truck. He said it was stolen. I reported it stolen. Detective Harris leaned back in his chair. What is your brother's name? We need to talk to him. I gave him Dylan's full name and phone number. Harris said he would call Dylan in for questioning and asked me to wait. I sat in that room for what felt like hours. My hands were shaking. My mind was racing. What did Dylan do with my truck? Why was there cocaine in it? A gun. This did not make any sense. Or maybe it did. Maybe Dylan was not just gambling. Maybe he owed money to the wrong people. Maybe they forced him to do something. Transport drugs. I did not know, but I was about to find out. Detective Harris came back into the room with another officer. He looked at me differently now. Mr. Thornton, your father is here. He has some information he wants to share with us. My heart dropped. My dad was here. Harris gestured to the one-way mirror. You can hear what he is saying if you want. I stood up and looked through the glass into the next room. There was my dad Robert sitting at a table talking to two officers. Harris turned on the speaker so I could hear. My dad was saying, Mac has had problems with drugs for a long time. He went to rehab a few years ago. The words hit me like a freight train. What, I have never touched drugs in my life. I have never been to rehab. What is he talking about? My dad continued. I think Mac stole the truck from Dylan to use it for drug deals. Dylan bought that truck 2 weeks ago. He registered it under Mac's name because Mac has better credit. But it is Dylan's truck. Mac stole it. I could not move. I could not speak. I just stared through the glass at my father, the man who raised me, lying to the police. Lying about me, trying to send me to prison to protect Dylan. Detective Harris turned to me. Do you have anything to say? I forced myself to breathe. That is my truck. I bought it. Here is the paperwork. I pulled out the bill of sale, the financing documents, everything. It is all in my name because it is mine. I did not steal anything. Harris looked at the documents. Then he said, Your father claims you forged signatures to buy the truck under your name, that it actually belongs to Dylan. I shook my head. That is not true. I have text messages. Dylan asked to borrow my truck. I said yes, I can prove it. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and showed Harris the messages. Dylan texting me, Hey, can I borrow the truck this weekend? My reply, sure, but bring it back by 8 p.m. Harris read the messages carefully. His expression shifted. Do you have any other evidence that your brother has been in trouble? Gambling debts? Anything like that? I nodded. I have messages where he asked me to borrow money, emails. And I know his friend Jake. Jake told me Dylan owed money to some dangerous people. Harris took notes. We are going to bring Dylan in right now, and we are going to look into this further. Just then, a lawyer walked into the room. Her name was Davis. She worked at the firm where my friend Sarah was a paralegal. Sarah had called her the second I told her what was happening. Davis sat down next to me and took charge. My client is willing to cooperate fully, but you need to investigate the right person. She handed Harris printouts of my text messages with Dylan records of money Dylan borrowed from me and contact information for Jake. Harris studied everything. Then he stood up. Wait here. I am bringing your brother in, and I am going to talk to this Jake person. An hour later, Jake was at the station. At first, he did not want to say anything. But when the detectives explained the situation, that I might go to prison for something I did not do, Jake broke. He told them everything. Dylan owed a man named Lenny $30,000. Lenny ran an underground casino. When Dylan could not pay, Lenny threatened him, threatened his family. So Lenny gave Dylan a job. Transport drugs. Use someone else's vehicle so if you get caught, it is not traced back to you. Dylan used my truck. He thought if anything went wrong, he could just say it was stolen. When the police started closing in, Dylan panicked. He ditched the truck at the warehouse and ran. Then he and my dad came up with a plan. Frame me. Say the truck was Dylan's and that I stole it. Say I had a drug problem. Make me the criminal so Dylan could walk free. My dad thought I was young enough that I would get off easy. He thought protecting Dylan was more important than protecting me. The police arrested Dylan that night at my parents' house. He tried to run out the back door, but officers were waiting. They charged him with drug trafficking, possession of an illegal firearm, and conspiracy. They arrested my dad at the station and charged him with obstruction of justice and making false statements to law enforcement. My mom called me sobbing. She said she did not know Dad was going to lie to the police. She thought he was just going to talk to them to help Dylan somehow. I did not know what to say to her. I just hung up. Detective Harris apologized to me, said he was sorry for doubting me. The truck was released back to me after they finished processing it as evidence. My lawyer Davis told me I was lucky. If I had not had those text messages, if Jake had not talked, I could have been the one going to prison. I walked out of that police station a free man. But I did not feel free. I felt hollow. The legal process moved fast. Dylan was facing 15 years in prison. The evidence was overwhelming. The drugs in the truck, his fingerprints all over the interior, Jake's testimony about Lenny, and the gambling debts, the text messages proving I let him borrow the truck. There was no way out for him. My dad was facing 2 years for lying to investigators and trying to frame me. My mom fell apart. She stopped going to work, stopped answering the phone. She tried calling me every day for weeks, but I did not pick up. I did not go to their court hearings. I could not. I could not sit there and watch my own father and brother stand in front of a judge for trying to destroy my life. Sarah was with me every step of the way. She listened when I needed to talk. She sat with me when I could not find words. She reminded me that what happened was not my fault, that I did not owe my family anything just because we shared blood. For the first few weeks, I could barely function. I went to work, came home, stared at the wall. I kept replaying everything in my head. Every time Dylan borrowed money, every time my parents defended him, every time I felt guilty for not doing more. I kept asking myself, how did I not see this coming? But the truth is, I did see it. I just did not want to believe it. 3 months after everything went down, I started seeing a therapist. Her name was Dr. Patel. She specialized in family trauma. She helped me understand something called golden child syndrome. It is when one child in the family can do no wrong, and the other child is always expected to be perfect, to fix things, to sacrifice. Dylan was the golden child. I was the scapegoat, and my parents enabled it for my entire life. Dr. Patel helped me realize I had been conditioned to feel guilty any time I put myself first, that I believed my worth was tied to how much I could give to my family, that I thought love meant endlessly forgiving people who hurt me. But real love does not work that way. Real love is mutual. Real love does not ask you to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. I started setting boundaries, real firm boundaries. My mom kept trying to contact me. She sent letters, emails, showed up at my apartment twice. Finally, I agreed to meet her once. We sat in a coffee shop and she cried. She said she was sorry. She said she did not know Dad was going to lie. But I asked her, did you believe me? When I said the truck was mine, when I said Dylan was lying, did you believe me? She could not answer. That told me everything I needed to know. I told her I needed space. Maybe someday we could have a relationship again, but not now. Not until she understood what she did, what she allowed to happen. I cut off all contact with my dad and Dylan completely. I kept minimal contact with my mom, just a text on holidays. Nothing more. It hurt. Of course it hurt. But staying would have hurt more. I threw myself into work. My boss noticed my dedication and promoted me to shop manager 6 months later. It came with a significant raise. I started saving again. This time, not just for a truck or a shop. I was saving for my future, for therapy, for peace of mind. I started spending more time with Sarah and her circle of friends. People who genuinely cared about me, people who showed up when things got hard. I realized that family is not just about who you are born to. Sometimes family is who you choose. A year after everything happened, I met Emma. She was a friend of Sarah's, a teacher at a local elementary school. We started talking at a barbecue, and I felt something I had not felt in a long time, comfort, ease. She had her own story of a toxic family, a father who was never satisfied, a mother who played favorites with her siblings. We understood each other in a way most people could not. We started dating slowly, carefully, no rush. Just two people learning to trust again. Emma taught me something important. She taught me that I did not have to earn love, that love is not transactional, that I could be myself, flaws and all, and still be worthy of respect. My truck, that navy blue F-150, was still with me. I had thought about selling it at first, too many bad memories. But then I realized that truck represented something bigger. It represented my independence, my hard work, my refusal to be broken. So I kept it. 2 years after the incident, I finally did it. I opened my own repair shop. It was small, just 2 bays and a tiny office, but it was mine. I named it Second Chance Auto. The name felt right. Because everyone deserves a second chance. I specialized in affordable repairs for people who were struggling financially, single-parent students, folks who could not afford dealership prices. I also hired young people who needed a break, kids from rough backgrounds just like I came from. I taught them the trade, paid them fair wages, treated them with respect. Looking back now, I do not regret calling the police. If I had not, I would be the one sitting in a cell, right now, taking the fall for Dylan's choices. I learned something crucial through all of this. Loyalty to family does not mean accepting abuse. It does not mean sacrificing yourself on the altar of their mistakes. I learned about boundaries, that saying no is not selfish, that protecting yourself is not betrayal. I learned about self-worth, that I deserve respect whether it comes from strangers or from the people who raised me. I also learned about forgiveness. And here is the thing about forgiveness that most people get wrong. Forgiveness is not about them. It is about me. I forgave my dad, my brother, even my mom, not because they deserved it, not because they apologized enough or changed. I forgave them because carrying that anger every single day was destroying me. Forgiveness does not mean I forgot what they did. It does not mean I let them back into my life. It just means I am not letting them live rent-free in my head anymore. I forgave them, and then I walked away. And that is okay. You are allowed to forgive someone and still keep your distance. You are allowed to love someone from afar and refuse to let them hurt you again. You are allowed to choose yourself. That is not selfish. That is survival. Some people will call you cold for setting boundaries. They will say, blood is thicker than water. But the full saying is, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. The bonds you choose are stronger than the ones you are born into. I chose to walk away from people who saw me as expendable, and I chose to build a life with people who see me as valuable. That was the hardest and best decision I ever made. My shop is doing well. Emma and I are talking about moving in together. I have a small circle of friends who feel more like family than my actual family ever did. I wake up every morning without that weight on my chest, without wondering if today is the day Dylan calls asking for money, without feeling guilty for living my life. I am free, truly free. And that freedom is worth more than any relationship built on guilt and obligation. Sometimes I still think about my dad and Dylan. I wonder if they have changed, if they have learned anything. Dylan got out of prison last year after serving his sentence. I heard through a mutual acquaintance that he is working at a warehouse now, staying clean. I hope that is true. I genuinely do. My dad served his time too. He lives with my mom now in the same house I grew up in. I hope they are doing okay. But I do not need to know. I do not need updates. I do not need closure from them. I found closure within myself. Sitting here in my office at Second Chance Auto, looking out the window at that navy blue F-150 parked in the lot, I smile. Not because the story has a perfect ending, not because my family came crawling back begging for forgiveness, and we all lived happily ever after. That is not what happened. I smile because I learned the most important lesson of my life. Sometimes losing a family that does not love you the right way is exactly what you need to find yourself. And that is the greatest gift I could have ever received. The truck is still mine. The shop is mine. My peace of mind is mine. And nobody, not my father, not my brother, not anyone, can take that away from me again. I built this life from nothing. I built it on my own terms. And I am proud of that. I am proud of me. Maybe that is the real ending, not revenge, not reconciliation, just peace, just freedom, just me finally learning that I am enough, that I always was. I just needed to walk away from people who made me believe otherwise. So if you are out there dealing with a toxic family, feeling guilty for wanting to leave, feeling selfish for putting yourself first, let me tell you something. You are not selfish. You are not cruel. You are surviving. And sometimes the bravest thing you can ever do is not stay and endure. It is knowing when to walk away. I walked away, and I found myself on the other side. You can too. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to choose between family loyalty and your own well-being? Have you ever been blamed for something you did not do? Drop your story in the comments. Let me know I am not alone in this. And if this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel so you do not miss future stories like this one. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone who is struggling to set boundaries with their own family. Let them know it is okay to choose themselves. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. I hope you find your own version of freedom, whatever that looks like for you. Take care of yourself. You deserve it. And remember, family is not always who you are born to. Sometimes family is who you choose. Choose wisely. Choose people who choose you back. Until next time, stay strong.